Have you ever met someone who gave you chills without saying a word? What if the real danger isn't lurking in the shadows, but sitting right beside you? And when evil knows you've seen through its mask, how far will it go to silence your truth? Evil, no matter how deeply we analyze it, define it, or try to understand it, remains one of the most elusive and unsettling aspects of human nature. In Stoic philosophy, we're taught to stay calm, to accept the nature of things, and to observe life with reason. But when it comes to evil, we often recognize it more through instinct than logic. It doesn't always need a clear label, because the moment you face it, you feel it. A malicious person may never declare their intentions openly. They don't have to. The harm and cruelty they carry within them have a way of surfacing, through words unsaid, through glances that cut, through actions that unsettle your spirit. And when you cross paths with someone truly evil, your heart often registers the threat before your mind can even process what's happening. No explanations are necessary. No reasoning feels adequate. You just know. What makes this even more disturbing is that evil doesn't always show up where you expect it. It's not just hiding in dark alleys or unfamiliar corners of the world. It can exist right in the places we feel safest, in schools, churches, even the homes of those we love and trust. That's what makes it so dangerous. It often hides behind a smile, behind a calm demeanor, behind the illusion of normalcy. Until it's too late, trying to define evil with words like immoral or cruel often falls short, because those terms can mean different things to different people. True evil is far more complex, and when it realizes you've uncovered its truth, it doesn't cower or apologize. No. It reacts. And it does so in disturbingly predictable ways. In this video, we'll walk through 7 specific signs that reveal what evil people do once they know you've seen through their mask. Rooted in Stoic thought, these insights are here to help you understand them better, and more importantly, to remain mentally strong and composed in the face of their manipulations. Sign number 1. They rebrand themselves with a brand new reputation. Have you ever looked at someone and thought, there's something dark about them? You're not alone, and you're probably not wrong. Human beings can sometimes hide malevolence so deeply that it takes years before the cracks begin to show. But don't blame yourself. Evil people are often experts at disguise. They manipulate without shame. They exploit relationships to serve themselves. They take what they want and leave others emotionally wrecked. And worse, they do it all while maintaining a carefully curated image. These are not just bad people, they are embodiments of deceit. When someone like this realizes you've seen through their mask, their immediate reaction isn't self-reflection or remorse. Instead, they begin an elaborate campaign to rewrite the story. They know how powerful perception is. They know that if they can't control you, they might still control how others see them. They begin to reshape their image, polished, rebranded, repackaged. Like actors in a well-rehearsed play, they deny the past you know. They may offer excuses, it wasn't my fault, or you don't know the full story. They might even shift the blame onto others, creating an intricate web of narratives meant to confuse and distract. Suddenly, the person you knew becomes unrecognizable. And that's exactly what they want, their goal. To make you question your own instincts, and to stay one step ahead of the truth. They don't just try to look better, they want you to feel guilty for ever seeing the truth. Marcus Aurelius, one of the great Stoic philosophers, once said, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." Evil people understand this deeply. If they can change the way you think about them, they gain influence, not only over your actions but over your version of reality itself. This reputation-shifting tactic is not a sign of redemption. It's a calculated move, a way to dodge accountability while continuing to spread their influence unnoticed. And it happens everywhere, at work, in friendships, even within families. Imagine this: you've worked alongside someone who's known for undermining colleagues, spreading lies, and taking credit for work they didn't do. Once they sense you've caught on, they suddenly turn soft-spoken and apologetic. They talk about how life has humbled them, how they've faced personal challenges, how they've changed. It sounds convincing, almost heartfelt, but it's all part of the act. This performance is designed to make you doubt yourself. The more convincing the story, the more you begin to wonder, was I wrong about them? Did I misjudge? That creeping self-doubt is exactly what they want. They use emotional manipulation not just to protect their image, but to make you feel like the villain in the story, while they rewrite themselves as the misunderstood victim deserving of your sympathy. What begins as your inner certainty starts to waver. And before long, you may find yourself emotionally disarmed, second-guessing your instincts, and questioning whether your original judgment was fair. According to Stoic teachings, this is the moment when you must return to clarity. Emotional fog may cloud your thinking, but reason must remain your compass. Stoicism urges us to resist emotional impulse and instead observe with clear eyes. A person who quickly reshapes their identity after being exposed is rarely seeking growth. They are more often seeking cover. But here's the next twist: their manipulation isn't limited to words. Sometimes you feel something deeper, something unsettling that words can't explain. Sign number 2, they give off strange vibrations. Have you ever stood near someone and just felt something was off? It wasn't what they said, or what they did, but a kind of unease that settled in your chest. That's no coincidence. Everything in the universe, including human beings, is energy. Emotions carry frequencies, and when we interact with others, we exchange not only words, but energy. These frequencies, often referred to as vibrations, can profoundly influence how we feel and respond. You don't have to be spiritual to sense it. Scientific studies show that energy fields can affect our nervous systems, our mood, even our health. And when you're in the presence of someone who harbors ill intent, you might feel it as a tension in your body, a shift in your emotions, or simply a quiet voice in your gut saying, something's not right. Malicious individuals often radiate this uncomfortable energy, especially after they realize you've uncovered their mask. It's no longer just about deception through words. Their negative aura begins to seep out, making their presence feel intrusive and unnerving. You may notice them invading your personal space more often, crossing emotional boundaries, or giving you looks that send a chill down your spine. These aren't just social missteps. They're signals. They are subtle, energetic cues, vibrations your subconscious picks up on. And the Stoics would say, don't ignore them. These inner sensations can be more honest than appearances. One of the most noticeable shifts you'll begin to see is a change in their attitude, an odd, unnatural shift that's hard to describe but impossible to ignore. Something about the way they carry themselves suddenly feels forced, overly controlled, almost calculated. Their energy becomes heavier, and the way they speak or move seems designed to unsettle, not connect. These strange vibrations you're picking up aren't just random gut feelings. They're signals, deep, subconscious warnings that your body and mind are registering something off. Especially when these people hold power over you, like a manager, teacher, or elder in a social group, the shift can feel suffocating. Instead of backing down, they become more intrusive. They may start asking questions that cross personal boundaries. Questions that seem harmless on the surface but are strangely invasive in nature. They might monitor your actions more closely, track your words, or subtly criticize you in ways that erode your confidence. This isn't curiosity, it's control. Why do they do this? Because they fear losing their influence. And when someone feels their power slipping, they often react by tightening their grip. From the Stoic perspective, this is where inner strength becomes your shield. The philosopher Epictetus taught, people are not disturbed by things, but by the view they take of them. In other words, what happens around you doesn't disturb you, your interpretation of it does. When you feel those strange vibrations, those waves of anxiety or discomfort, it's crucial not to let them consume your inner peace. Recognize them for what they are, not warnings of danger, but signs of insecurity coming from the other person. It's their fear, not your fault. They act this way because they sense you've seen through them. And now they're scrambling, trying to destabilize you so they can regain control. But you don't have to play their game. You have a choice: stay calm. Stay grounded. Let their actions expose them while you keep your peace intact. Ask yourself, do these feelings have to overpower me? Or can they simply be reminders that I'm growing stronger in self-awareness and emotional mastery? Because the truth is, people can try every trick to manipulate a situation, but your response is always within your control. Everything outside of you is just material, fodder to strengthen your inner foundation. The more you practice staying composed in the face of chaos, the less power toxic people have over you. And here's a question: have you ever been in a situation where someone's energy felt off, and over time, they made your life harder without saying a word? How did you respond? What helped you stay centered? Share your thoughts in the comments. We grow by learning from each other. Sign number 3. They lie to cover up past lies. Lies, once spoken, don't disappear. They multiply. Like a spider weaving a web. One thread leads to another. And soon, the entire structure is a tangled, sticky mess, difficult to escape, even for the one who spun it. Evil people, when confronted with the truth, don't unravel the lies. Instead, they add more layers, more stories, more distractions. They spin a thicker web of deceit, hoping to bury the truth so deep it can no longer be found. As Epictetus once said, it is impossible for a man to learn what he thinks he already knows. And when someone believes their own lies long enough, they lose the ability to face the truth, even when it stares them in the face. Once a person begins lying to cover previous lies, they quickly fall into a toxic cycle, one that feeds on denial, fear, and pride. They become so entangled in their own stories that they lose sight of reality altogether. At that point, they're not just deceiving others, they're deceiving themselves. Now, let's be clear, everyone lies. Studies have shown that the average person lies once or twice a day. Some lies are small, meant to spare someone's feelings or avoid unnecessary conflict. Maybe you've told a friend their haircut looked great when it didn't, just to avoid hurting their confidence. These are the kinds of lies people sometimes call white lies. One study even found that 59% of adults lie at least once, and as many as 5 times a day. Interestingly, research suggests that men tend to lie more frequently than women. But again, not all lies carry the same weight. There's a crucial difference between a lie told to maintain peace and one told to protect selfish interests. What separates evil individuals from others is the intention behind their deceit. They don't lie to protect someone else, they lie to protect themselves. They lie to conceal wrongdoing, to escape blame, and to avoid the consequences of their actions. And when the first lie is exposed, they don't stop. They keep going, piling one lie on top of another in a desperate attempt to keep the truth buried. It's a never-ending loop, a lie to cover a lie, then another lie to cover the last. And with every new story, they drift further from the truth and deeper into delusion. It's not just dishonest, it's a sign of weakness, of fear, of a soul too afraid to face what it's become. Rather than admit fault and take responsibility, they choose the darker road. They betray not only the people who trusted them, but also betray themselves. Because deep down, they know that every new deception builds a wall between them and the life of integrity they could have had. This cycle of deceit destroys trust, perhaps the most fragile and valuable part of any relationship. And once trust is broken, it is incredibly hard to rebuild. But what makes wicked people especially dangerous is that this isn't an accident. It's strategy. They lie with intent. They manipulate truth not just to protect themselves, but to control how others see the world around them. They see truth not as something sacred, but as something flexible, something to be twisted and bent to suit their advantage. This is what makes them truly untrustworthy. They don't value honesty, because to them, honesty is only useful when it serves their purpose. Once that mask cracks, everything underneath reveals just how hollow their moral foundation is. Sign number 4. They only come around when there's something to gain. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." His words remind us that true character is shown not in what people say, but in what they do, especially when no one's watching. Toxic individuals often put on the perfect mask. In the early stages, before their true nature is revealed, they seem dependable. They show up when you need help, express concern when you're struggling, and make you feel valued. But once you start to see through the facade, once they realize you've uncovered their true intentions, their behavior shifts dramatically. They no longer pretend to be a friend. Instead, they become opportunistic. You'll notice they start showing up only when they want something, from your time, your energy, your resources. And when you need them, they vanish. This is no coincidence. It's a pattern, a calculated withdrawal of empathy and commitment. Their loyalty was never to you, but to what they could get from you. These people behave like emotional opportunists. They come around when they can benefit, when there's something to gain, be it support, attention, or resources. But the moment there's nothing left for them to take, they disappear without hesitation, leaving you to clean up the emotional mess. This behavior mirrors the tactics of those who never invest in relationships with sincerity. Every gesture of kindness they show is a calculated move. They don't see people, they see opportunities. And once you're no longer useful to them, they exit without remorse. as if your feelings are irrelevant, as if your support was merely a transaction that's now expired. What's even more frustrating? They often return once the storm has passed, once you've healed, rebuilt your strength, and moved on. They show up with soft apologies, dramatic excuses, and empty words, hoping your compassionate heart will let them back in. They rely on your forgiveness as if it's a guarantee. They act like nothing ever happened. And if you refuse, if you draw boundaries and say no, they retreat again, until the next time they need something. Such people don't change. They never cared for you, only for what you gave them. Their emotional loyalty was never real. It was a mask worn only when it benefited them. There's a powerful lesson from the life of Epictetus, the great Stoic teacher. Among his many students was one who seemed deeply devoted, always present when he needed guidance or help. This student constantly sought Epictetus's wisdom during personal hardships. But when the roles reversed, and Epictetus himself went through a difficult time, the student vanished. No support, no presence, just silence. Only when the challenge had passed, and Epictetus had overcome it alone, did the student reappear. He came back with excuses, pretending as though nothing had happened, offering false concern and shallow words. But Epictetus, calm and wise, wasn't fooled. He saw the truth: this student didn't truly care. He was only present when it suited him. From this, we learn an important Stoic lesson: don't let yourself be disturbed by people who treat you as a convenience. If someone only shows up in good times, or when they need something, recognize that pattern for what it is. Your peace of mind deserves protection. Stoic philosophy reminds us that it's not wrong to be kind, but it is unwise to let that kindness be used. If someone disappears during your hard times and only returns when they see you've recovered, don't be bitter. See their absence as a gift. It's clarity. It's freedom from a one-sided relationship. Marcus Aurelius said it best: waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. Don't stoop to their level. Don't seek revenge. Just continue being guided by your own values. Let their actions define them, and yours define you. You don't have to feel regret when they disappear. Their absence makes room for those who are real, people who show up not just in joy but also in difficulty, not for gain but for connection. Protect your energy. No one can endlessly exploit your kindness if you shield it with wisdom and clarity. Let go of those who drain you, and focus instead on nurturing relationships rooted in sincerity, growth, and mutual care. What about you? Have you encountered people who only come around when they need something? How did you deal with it? Feel free to share your story, because the more we reflect together, the stronger we grow. Sign number 5. They try to make you feel stupid. When manipulation doesn't work through absence or guilt, the next weapon many toxic individuals use is something far more subtle: emotional belittlement. Imagine opening up to someone you trust, only to hear them say, "Well, you should have known better," or "Why would you even do that?" These aren't just comments, they're subtle daggers meant to wound your confidence. It starts with a simple comment. Maybe you confide in them, hoping for support, only to be hit with a phrase like, "You should have known better," or "Well, that was obvious." In that moment, the damage is done, not with aggression, but with condescension. You feel small, embarrassed, unsure. And just like that, they've succeeded in making you feel foolish. This is how manipulative individuals operate. They don't need to shout or insult you openly. Instead, they chip away at your confidence, subtly, strategically, until you begin to doubt yourself. Their goal is to make you feel isolated, incapable, and mentally weak. Because when your self-esteem is low, you become easier to control. From a Stoic point of view, this kind of behavior reflects a deep lack of virtue. Stoicism teaches that all actions should arise from reason, integrity, and harmony with nature. To mock, shame, or mentally manipulate others is a direct violation of those principles. It's not just unkind, it's unnatural, and the most frightening part. You may begin to internalize their words. You start second-guessing your decisions. You question your understanding of relationships, of life, even of who you are. This is no accident. It's a trap, carefully laid by someone who wants to keep you uncertain and emotionally dependent on their approval. Why? Because if you start to feel weak, you might go running back to them for reassurance. And that's exactly where they want you, back in their control. But Stoic wisdom gives us a way out, rather than react with anger, sadness, or defensiveness. A Stoic would pause. They'd ask themselves, why should I allow someone else's words to shake my self-worth? They would remind themselves that value doesn't come from external opinions, but from internal clarity, virtue, and self-respect. Picture a rock in a storm, unmoving, unaffected. That's how a Stoic faces insult or manipulation, with calmness and distance. Not coldness, but reasoned detachment. They view the situation like a neutral observer, not a victim. That strength, the refusal to react emotionally, is a power malicious people can't touch. Toxic individuals want you to lose your temper, to cry, to fall apart. But if you respond with reason, they lose their hold. Their tactics fail, because the attempt to make you feel foolish is not random, it's a form of emotional conditioning. It's designed to weaken your self-image, so you'll rely more on them for validation. And the moment you seek their approval, they win. But you don't have to give them that victory. Your worth is not defined by anyone's insults. It's not shaped by sarcastic remarks or mental games. It's built by how you carry yourself, how you respond, and how you stay true to your values, especially when challenged. In the end, one of the most deceptive tactics malicious people use is to make you feel stupid. But Stoicism teaches that wisdom lies not in how others see us, but in how we choose to see ourselves. No one can steal your strength unless you hand it over. And no one can control your mind unless you allow it. Sign number 6. They act like they don't know what they are. Have you ever met someone who plays innocent even when caught red-handed? It's a dangerous game, pretending ignorance when harm has already been done. But this too is part of their strategy. In Stoic philosophy, a person's true character is not only revealed through their actions, but even more clearly through how they respond in difficult situations. As Epictetus wisely said, people are not disturbed by things, but by the views they take of them. Unfortunately, malicious individuals understand this all too well, and they weaponize perception itself. When they're confronted about their behavior, they don't respond with honesty. Instead, they act surprised, even confused, as if they had no idea their actions caused harm. This is no innocent mistake, it's a strategic move. By pretending not to understand, they shift the burden of blame back onto you, they might say things like, "Why didn't you say something earlier?" Or "I didn't know it bothered you." But these aren't genuine questions. They're psychological tools, carefully crafted to make you second-guess yourself. Their goal is to make you feel like the one who overreacted, the one who misunderstood, the one who failed to communicate. It's a sophisticated form of manipulation. Even when you've clearly voiced your feelings, maybe more than once, they'll continue to ask why you didn't speak up. Not because they didn't hear you, but because repetition weakens your sense of truth. The more they act confused, the more likely you are to doubt your own memory, your own pain, your own clarity. This isn't forgetfulness. This is gaslighting. It's how they try to rewrite reality, to make you question what you know and how you feel. And once you start doing that, they regain control. You hesitate, unsure if your emotions are valid. You feel guilty for being hurt. And slowly, your self-worth begins to erode. But Stoic philosophy offers a vital defense against this emotional fog. You cannot control what others say or how they twist the narrative. But you can control your response. You can remain grounded in your truth, unmoved by their performance. You can choose not to internalize their denial as your failure. Remember, their refusal to take responsibility is not a reflection of your worth. It is a reflection of their cowardice. In moments like these, Stoicism calls us to anchor ourselves in inner strength. Do not try to win them over, or prove yourself again and again. Instead, return to your principles. Hold firm to what you know is true. Let their distortion reveal their character, not shake yours. When malicious people see they've been exposed, their first instinct is to rewrite the story, to play the innocent, to deny, to distract. But once you recognize this pattern, you take back the power. You stop playing their game, because their denial isn't just disrespect, it's a deep insult to your intelligence and your emotional reality. They know exactly what they did. And they know exactly how to make you doubt yourself if you let them. That's why Stoic self-control matters so much here. You don't need to argue. You don't need to prove anything. You just need to stay calm, clear, and committed to the truth you've experienced. Sign number 7, they try to manipulate you. Once their denial fails and their innocence act no longer works, they turn to their most dangerous tool, manipulation. At this stage, it's no longer just about denying the past. It's about controlling your present, your thoughts, your emotions, even your relationships. Many manipulative individuals possess a high level of emotional intelligence. This might sound like a good thing. After all, understanding others' emotions should be a gift. But in the wrong hands, it becomes a dangerous weapon. Instead of using their insight to build trust and compassion, they use it to exploit you. They study your fears, sense your insecurities, and observe your deepest desires. Then, with precise calculation, they use that knowledge to gently steer you, convincing you to abandon your priorities, sacrifice your boundaries, and slowly, unknowingly, hand over control. What's most deceptive is that this manipulation often wears a mask of kindness. It doesn't always look like control. Sometimes, it looks like concern. They listen patiently. They offer help. They say the right things. You might even feel lucky to have someone so attentive. But if their concern only serves themselves, if their support is conditional, then what you're experiencing is not care. It's a strategy. A subtle trap designed to make you feel indebted, dependent, and eventually, powerless. You begin to think, maybe they're the only one who understands me. You start turning to them for reassurance, for validation, for every decision, until one day, you can't remember what it felt like to trust yourself. This is how they control you, without force, without shouting, without visible chains. They simply shift your sense of self, until it belongs to them. But here's what Stoic philosophy teaches us: boundaries are sacred, to protect your mind and your inner peace. You must know where your limits lie, and enforce them. Boundaries aren't barriers to keep others out. They are the framework through which we maintain autonomy, dignity, and clarity. Manipulators will try to bend these lines. They'll say, "It's just a small thing," or "You can handle that later." They'll claim that letting go of a little control is no big deal. But each small concession chips away at your freedom. True Stoic strength lies in self-mastery. And that means recognizing when someone is trying to steer your choices. It means holding firm to your path, even when others try to sway you through guilt or flattery. One common tactic they use is convincing you that you're incapable without them. "You can't do this on your own," they'll say. "Only I can help you." But once you start believing that, you slowly surrender your independence. You begin second-guessing your decisions, relying on them for answers, and losing trust in your own judgment. If this sounds familiar, know this: breaking free is possible. It won't be easy. Manipulators don't let go easily. They'll adapt, guilt trip, and find new ways to keep you within reach. But you are not powerless. Every time you say no, every time you assert a boundary, every time you trust your inner voice, you reclaim yourself. You may not be able to control others' behavior, but you can always control how you respond. And that response, that calm, unshakable clarity, is your greatest defense. So, throughout this video, we've explored 7 revealing signs that toxic individuals display once they realize you've seen through them. From shifting blame to manipulating your emotions, each behavior is designed to weaken your confidence and tighten their grip. But with the guidance of Stoic philosophy, you don't have to fall victim to their tactics. Instead, you can face them with strength, clarity, and inner peace. You can stay calm in chaos, true to your values, and firm in your boundaries. Because no matter how others act, your response is always yours to control. The Stoics taught that nothing outside of us can truly disturb us, unless we give it permission. So don't give them that power. Guard your peace. Protect your clarity. And above all, trust in your strength. Because when you stand firm in who you are, no manipulator, no deceiver, no toxic energy can break you. Before we conclude, I'd love to hear your thoughts. How did this video resonate with you? 1. Strongly disagree. 2. Disagree. 3. Neutral. 4. Agree. 5. Strongly agree. If this message helped you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you won't miss future insights. And be sure to check out our most recent videos, linked right here on the screen. Until next time, stay grounded, stay strong, and protect your peace.